What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ. Jacqueline D'Agostino alongside Haley Sutton, Leger Douzable, and Pete Prisco. We're going to talk MVP, right? Because we're going into week 9, and the list now is certainly a little different than it was to start the season and the predictions, right?
It certainly is. Who would have thought Daniel Jones would be in this conversation? Drake Maye, the second-year guy.
No, he didn't think.
Not to start the year. I'm not even going to lie and say that.
By the way, if he did, we would hear about it.
This guy.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to continue the conversation. MVP tiers, right? We love a list. We love a ranking. We love a tiers list. So we're going to do Frontrunners, Contenders, and Longshots. We'll see where Daniel Jones falls into one of those categories, right? Looking at the odds to win the MVP as of right now, no surprise. Patrick Mahomes, as of right now, sitting at the favorite at plus 150. Josh Allen, the reigning MVP, sitting at 4-1. And I feel like this is where the surprise guys are kind of on the rise here. Drake Maye, plus 450. Jonathan Taylor at 14-1. Jordan Love rounding out the top 5 best odds. Matthew Stafford is right there, right at 16-1 with Jared Goff. We're going to go through. We want to get your list, though, because you guys have broken it down into 3 different tiers. Frontrunners, Contenders, and Longshots. Yep. And then we'll get into it and have a big conversation about it. So
I can tell you right now, Trevor Lawrence is a long shot. If you wonder.
Pete, you did not have to tell me that.
Shots fired.
That's kind of a compliment, though. Like a long shot for the MVP for Trevor
There's
Lawrence.
a lot of long shots. I didn't know what we.
That's an extreme long shot.
They took the words out of my mouth. Like, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence in this segment? We're not. That's crazy.
But that's the point.
Exactly.
Everybody's a long shot.
Correct.
But it's like long shot
that has a chance.
That has a small chance.
That has a small chance.
So, Pete, we're going to pull up your list first. Kind of give us a briefing, and then we'll follow with Leger's, and then we'll get into it.
We probably have similar lists.
Probably.
Jonathan Taylor is on my list.
Yep.
And right now, as an MVP voter, Jonathan Taylor would get my vote.
Okay.
Running back.
Love a little spoiler alert.
From Pete. I love it.
Yes.
Running back. For me to sit here and say I'm going to vote for a running back right now, but he's been phenomenal. And
this is a full moon?
This is a historic season for him. I mean, you go back and look. The last guy who won the MVP as a running back was Adrian Peterson, and this season might eclipse that.
That's a great point.
So that's what tells you how special he is. So he's number 1 on my list. Patrick Mahomes has emerged now as number 2. And Patrick Mahomes, what he's done over the course of the last 3 games, phenomenal. He's got 17 touchdown passes. He's number 2. And Matt Stafford's right there with him because Matt Stafford has been outstanding the entire season. Look, he threw 5 touchdown passes against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago without Puka Nacua, and he spread the ball around. So he's on that list as well. My contenders, Mayfield, Love has emerged, and Drake Maye is right there with him. I think that group, Mayfield's fallen off a little bit. He would have been in the other category up until the last couple games.
Yeah.
He'll get back. The injuries have impacted him. And then the long shots, Herbert, Jones, and Jared Goff.
Okay.
All right, let's get to my list. And Pete was right. There's a lot of similarities. I just flip-flop when it comes to contenders. I just noticed you didn't have Josh Allen on your list.
Nope, not yet.
My heart almost dropped.
I was going to talk. We were going to talk about that, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah, okay. So my front runners, obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Jonathan Taylor would be my vote if I had a vote right now. Jonathan Taylor would be it. And Jordan Love, I have him as a front runner, man. He's really elevated that Packers team. Contenders, Josh Allen. He hasn't played up to the standards that he played last year, but he has a big chance this week versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's my point. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, Drake Maye, Matt Stafford, because of what Pete talked about. And my long shots right there. Jackson Smith-Njigba is on a historic run at receiver, and not enough people are talking about it. Still leads the league in receiving yards, and they're coming off a bye. You see Indiana Jones there as a long shot as well, and I have Baker Mayfield because of what you said. He's really struggled the last 2 weeks, and I think the injuries on the outside are starting to affect his gameplay.
I think he's banged up a little bit, too. The bye comes at a good time for him.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the front runners, the guys that you both agree on, right? And I want to circle back to Jonathan Taylor because you mentioned Adrian Peterson. That is the last running back to win MVP. We got to go all the way back to 2012 for that. And Pete, again, back to you. You said if as a voter, he's getting my vote right now as a running back. So just speak to how incredible he has been because we've talked about it before. This is a quarterback award,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the award is it's called most valuable, and the quarterback is always the most valuable player on a team. Usually, I mean, provided he's not a stiff, and the majority of the guys are the most valuable player. Daniel Jones, say what you want, is the most valuable player to the Colts right now. but Jonathan Taylor is the most valuable player in the league for what he's done.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this award. It is a quarterback award, and so a quarterback will likely win it.
Correct.
And you know, when Adrian Peterson won it, that's a long time ago. It was a different game, and so I do think what he's doing is unreal. And right now, he will get my vote. That'll probably change at the end. We'll probably end up being a quarterback.
What are the parameters for a running back? Is that what you were going to say, Lisa? Because that's
This is what irks me about this award. I want this to be an open discussion. So can we go to a wide screen? Because this is what irks me with this award.
Play director again.
This is what irks me with this award. Because you know this, you've been a voter for a long time. This award always went to the best player in the NFL. All of a sudden last year, people wanted to valuable. All of a sudden, in quotation marks. When did that happen? Adrian Peterson wasn't the most valuable player in the league when he won it. He was just the best player in the league.
Well, that's not what it is.
When Lamar won it a couple years ago, you even said it. You thought Dak probably outplayed him. He was the best player. When you turn on the tape, you were like, Lamar Jackson's the best player in the league. That's why he won the award. If it's the most valuable, to me, Jaden Daniels should have won last year for what he did. He was a number 2 overall pick because the Commanders sucked. And he literally elevated them all the way to the NFC Championship game.
His numbers weren't great.
What do you mean his numbers weren't great?
You look at
when
his
you add
numbers.
the rushing and passing, his numbers were phenomenal.
Well, numbers weren't great, and he couldn't have
But
been.
they said the same thing about Lamar. But again, when you turn the tape on, he was the best player in the league.
Well, that's
this award has always gone to the best player. They
No, it
moved
hasn't.
the goalpost last year, and I'm going to say it. They moved the goalpost last year.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they did.
The quarterbacks have won it since 2012.
Again, people said Dak should have won it because he had better numbers than Lamar. But when you turned on the tape, Lamar Jackson in 2023 was the best player in the NFL.
And here's the other thing. Your team also has to have a pretty good record.
Yeah, you have to have a winning record.
Right.
But Dak and them had a good record that year. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like the goalpost constantly gets moved. I get what you're
if
saying.
Myles Garrett has 30 sacks this year, is he going to be the MVP?
He should be.
He won't be.
He
His
should
team
be.
stinks. He won't be.
Exactly. But I think, okay, the parameters are your team has to actually have a winning record. But to me, it's always gone to the best player. And right now, Jonathan Taylor is clearly the best player in the league.
Did it go to the best player when Mark Mosley won it way back in the day?
Now you're going right before
Now you're being petty.
it was alive,
As
probably.
a kicker.
Talk to me about Patrick Mahomes and just the arc that he's on, because you've been a big believer in Patrick even this year when we were already writing the Chiefs off. You still said Patrick. So why is he a true contender?
Once he got his speed back on the outside, it made him Patrick Mahomes again. I mean, over the course of the last couple of years, when you called him a game manager,
He was over the last year and a half.
they were really restricted by what they could do in the passing game.
Yeah.
They didn't have any vertical threats, and so everybody played him in a phone booth. Travis Kelce was taken away because he plays in the phone booth. Well, now it's wide open again. And so Kelce's become more of a factor again.
Yeah.
Mahomes is protected better now. The offensive line is better, so he's more comfortable. He's back to being the Patrick Mahomes from a couple years ago.
Correct.
It's not the game manager Patrick Mahomes. It's not try and let the defense get you to a playoffs and try and strike magic in the playoffs. This is Patrick Mahomes at his best again.
Yeah, you talked about it 2 years ago. That was the maturation of him not trying to force the ball down the field because we were so accustomed with Tyreek Hill to, throw the ball down the field. And once that went away, he was able to dink and dunk. And that's what he's doing this year. Whatever the defense is giving him, he's taking it. And even when they were struggling in the beginning of the year, their best plays were Patrick Mahomes getting outside the pocket. He's still number 2 on this team in rush yards, which is ridiculous for a quarterback to be number 2 in rush yards on your team. So he's doing it all, running the football, playing off platform, playing within timing. I think to me that's the most important thing because when he's decisive and knows where to go with the football, you see that God-given talent that Patrick Mahomes has. Right now he would be number 2 on my list right behind Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, to your point, Leger, second on the team with 250 rushing yards.
Unreal.
I want to circle back over to, this little matchup that they have going on with the Chiefs and the Bills
Yeah.
and something that you said, Pete. Josh Allen has a big opportunity here. So if Josh Allen does beat this version of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, what would that do for your rankings with Josh Allen?
Well, he has to put up big numbers.
Yeah.
And I think he will this week, by the way. I know they want to run the ball, and I know the Chiefs are going to do everything they can to take away that run.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to end up being a shootout. And if it is a shootout, Josh Allen needs to put up big numbers. I think it's one of those games where he has to throw for 350, run for 35, 40 yards, get a touchdown on the ground, and throw for 3. That's what it's going to take to win this game. I think this one gets really loose. And if he does that, then he goes soaring right back into the conversation. His numbers haven't been
They
great
haven't
this
been
year.
great this
They're
year.
not bad. He just have in certain games they had, like last week, he didn't put up big numbers.
Correct.
He didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
But the bottom line is this week he's going to have to.
And quickly before we move on, he has 17 total touchdowns. And to your point, when James Cook is running the way he's running, he doesn't have to throw for a lot of yards. It'll be interesting, right? Because the two teams that beat him this year brought a lot of pressure. Steve Spagnuolo, what does he like to do? Bring pressure. So to your point, if Josh is able to combat that and have big numbers, then he's going to be squarely in this MVP conversation.
Let's talk about Drake Maye. I feel proud of myself because I said in the offseason that the Patriots were going to be a playoff team this year, and a lot of people made fun of me, but Drake Maye has been cooking. It's been fun to watch him. He kind of sliced and diced up the Browns. Why, though, I guess, Leger, what's missing? Contender for both of you guys, not quite the front runner, so what more do you need to see?
I just think the three guys that I put in front of him have played a little bit better. I have Jordan Love in front of him, Jonathan Taylor, and obviously Patrick Mahomes. Drake Maye has elevated this team, right? There was question marks about this receiving crew, and people were saying even at the trade deadline that they maybe need to trade somebody for somebody. I don't think so, because he's elevated guys like Kayshon Boutte. We're seeing the Stephon Diggs of old, right? He's been able to get the tight ends involved, and their offensive line has struggled at times, Pete, but it's his mobility to get outside the pocket and throw off platform and find guys down the field. He's calm under pressure, and that's another facet of his game. His rush yards, like they're up there this year. So he's a guy that not only can beat you with his arm, but he can beat you with his legs. And you see his NFL ranks right there. When you talk about the completion percentage, 75% is astronomical, Pete, for a second-year quarterback to be playing at this level right now.
Is he now? The question is he now the best quarterback from that class? I mean, I personally still would take Jaden Daniels when he's healthy and on the field. But it's close now. It's a conversation, and it wasn't a conversation a year ago. Look, you thought they'd be a playoff team. I thought they were a year away from being a playoff team. I thought they would be feisty, tough, give everybody a hard game week in and week out, and then next year they would push for the division title. They're ahead of schedule, and it's because of him, and you were correct and we were wrong.
For sure.
Oh, look at that. Take your flowers. Haley.
I love hearing that.
She also is married to a guy who covers the Dolphins, so she knew the Dolphins were 2 wins every year. Automatic 2 wins.
Who's going to compete with the Bills?
And by the way, he should have known the Jets weren't going to compete with him either.
Oh, man. Okay.
So you got to win.
We did get a win this last
Got that
week.
going for you.
Big for us.
Draft order, that might not be a win. We talked about it yesterday, Leger. Anyways, we got to get back on track because we're finally getting to a quarterback here where you guys are on different pages in terms of Jordan Love. So, Pete, a contender for you, and then a front runner for you, Leger. Pete, why not a front runner for Jordan
Not
Love?
yet. It's coming.
Yet.
He will be.
Okay.
He will be. We have not seen the best of Jordan Love yet, and that includes what happened the other night. Because they haven't had their weapons at all. They haven't had together as a group. They haven't had the offensive line together for most of the year. Now they're getting back healthy again. And when they get that group together, he is going to put up even bigger numbers. I think by the end of this year, this offense is going to be dynamic and almost impossible to stop. I really believe that. I think with all those, getting Christian Watson back, you talk about a field, he opens it up. He's this field spreader. He makes everybody back off. And when you back off, what did the tight end do? He had a big game.
Correct.
You're going to have Dobbs in the middle of the field. They didn't even get Golden going the other day. And once that whole group gets going together, and he is playing at a high level, plus he has the attitude. People don't know that about Jordan Love. Jordan Love has the attitude. And you know how I always talk about the swagger of the quarterback. He walks in the room. He has it.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, Pete, because when you watch him play, he makes it look easy at times. And then, he just has a still face, no emotion. And that's dangerous for a defense, for a guy to go, to go out there and handle his business. We saw the graphic right there. The last 2 games, completing 72% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And I love that he's getting everybody involved. He's decisive with the football. And then when things break down, he's able to get outside the pocket and find Christian Watson or find Tucker Kraft on those over routes to have explosive ability. To me, he's playing at an MVP level. He's really elevated his team. Had question marks about them on the road. He answered them the last 2 weeks.
People don't realize how hurt he was a year ago and didn't practice. And one of the things that those guys told me when I was there is he's a guy who needs to practice, and he wasn't able to practice. Even though he'd play in games when he came back, he wasn't able to practice. And he has bad habits when he doesn't practice. He falls back. You've seen him do it, and it's bad.
Aaron Rodgers floating back, throwing the ball.
But when he practices and he gets his team back, watch out for them.
Yeah, and Pete, you're always there at training camp, and you've been high on this team and Jordan Love and what's to come for them for a long time.
I think they're going to play in the Super Bowl, and I picked them before the season. I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
Packers, Bills.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it. Guys, game day recap. Haley, Pete, Damian, Ran. Pete, how are you recovering from the hot sauce? I know that was like 2 weeks ago, but the hot sauce paper
No, I'm
situation.
recovering from being preempted last week for an hour.
Yeah, we are just a little salty.
And then we drove home in a flood.
We did drive home in a flood, but we always have so much fun.
It's a great. We have the best time. It's so much fun.
Come kick it with us, 8:20 Eastern on Sundays.